Hi there, it's Beauty Junkie. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm creating a look with the least amount of makeup products to achieve the usual enhancement that I try to achieve, which is even out the complexion, define the eyes, and that's pretty much it. That's usually what I try to do. I usually also almost always fill in my eyebrows when I'm wearing makeup, so I have an eyebrow product included. But I'm going to be using only 9 products today. I know in my videos it's not super surprising to me how many products I use, but I know people that have checked out my videos that are like, oh, that's a lot of makeup. That's a lot of product. Yes, it is. On the surface, it absolutely is. But I don't think people realize, like, when they look at celebrities' faces, especially on the red carpet, how many products they're actually using to achieve that look. I think most people would be surprised. Anyways, I just thought of this idea today to just do something really minimal. It probably won't look any different than my basic looks, but I wanted to challenge myself. Let's start with the first product. I'm going to skip primer. I'm not including primer in my routine. Yes, I do think it helps, but it's not absolutely necessary, especially when you're trying to pare down to absolutely necessary stuff. Now, if you have a foundation that you love to use every day and you have to use a primer with it, then you might switch out one of these other makeup pieces. So, Water Fresh Tint in the lightest shade. I have put this foundation in some other videos. This is disappointing, but I'm still gonna try to use it. I do think it is too light of coverage, to be honest, but we're going very light today, very minimal. I think there's gonna be another version of this coming out that has more coverage, which would be cool. I don't really like the aspect that you have to mix this with a brush to make the color come out, make the pigment work. I'll show you what I mean. If the next version of Beiges that comes out, the Water Fresh Tint, you also have to mix up the color with a brush, I probably won't be interested in getting it, even if it is more coverage, because that aspect of it probably bothers me the most. So here's my gloss palette, 2 pumps. So you can't mix this in with fingers to get the pigment to break up. You have to use a brush to get friction. So that's the piece I'm talking about that I don't love. So I'm gonna use the Sonia G Classic Base. This is a mix of synthetic and natural hair to mix this foundation up. This is what it starts to look like when you mix it in. It is very skincare centered. It does feel like a serum that you would, hydrate your skin with. It is very florally fragranced, typical Chanel, but some of you would be perfectly happy with this kind of coverage running out the door, doing errands, or this is just what you like on a day-to-day basis. You don't like wearing a lot of makeup or looking like you're wearing a lot of makeup. Some of you might think this is pointless if it doesn't cover up your redness, your blemishes, your discoloration. Then what's the point of putting it on? I'm not exactly fully in that camp. I'm kind of in between. I do like an evening out more than this, but it does give a nice, really fresh, beautiful finish. It's more skincare than coverage. I think it's nice. It's just not exactly what I thought it was, and I don't feel like I should have to use 4 pumps to get what I need. But that is our light coverage. So my nose looks like I need more. So I'm just gonna use a damp sponge with nothing on it to see if I can stretch out this product a little bit, or just make the missing coverage a little less obvious. My skin looks better than it did without makeup, but it doesn't look where I want it to be, unfortunately. So I'm feeling regretful picking this out for this video. Let's just do 2 more pumps. We're gonna have to do 4 pumps because I'm not feeling comfortable. And I'm gonna try to focus it on my nose. I don't know if people that use this foundation regularly, how much product do you use? Do you use 4? Do you use 6 pumps? How does your skin react to this much? I think I'm gonna go over this with a sponge. Just smooth it out, push it into the skin. I find that buffing in with a brush really picks up the product and picks up my skin, my flaky. It just, the texture really comes out when I blend in with a brush, so I like to pat it with a sponge. It just works for me. I do need to do a technique video on complexion application, differences between fingers, brushes, and sponges. That is something I still need to do. So I'm still red, but I think I look a little bit better with those 2 extra pumps. Still looking very natural and looking a lot glowier. Now let's go to this concealer slash highlighter. This is from Sisley, Stylo Lumiere. This is the shade 1. This has a sponge tip applicator, which does not look so pretty right now. Oh no. I just ripped it off. Oh no. It looked weird and messed up, so I pulled it off. I just wanted to clean it, and it fell apart. Ah. Have you guys ever done that with anything with a sponge tip applicator? It just came off. And it's in shambles. I don't think it's gonna work. Wow, what a waste of product. Well, I've had this for a while. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but for the expense of this should not fall apart. I guess I can still use it. Now you guys know what it looks like when it comes out. So, okay. I'm gonna have to apply this in a different way, which is probably gonna be more sanitary. I have no idea how much product is left in here. I would bet that there's quite a bit. So I put it on my palette. I'm going to use just a regular damp sponge and go under my eye and use this like a concealer. But technically it's like a highlighting brightening pen for like complexion. It's not a highlighter like you would traditionally think. It's a brightener, but it has a little bit of sheen to it. Since we're using minimal products, I normally wouldn't put this on my face, but since I have it, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use a little bit more because I forgot to do my nose and I need to do some more around there. So I think I could have rocked this look, this amount of coverage on a day-to-day basis in college when I had better skin and my eyes didn't look the way they do now. But I do think this is just the basic, the bare minimum of what I want to do on a day-to-day basis. I do think my skin tone looks more even. I'm fairly glowy right now, but I'm happy with this now that we had several layers on. I can't believe this broke. So that was product 2. That's destroyed, but I'm still gonna find a way to use it. Onto cream products before we get into powders. So I thought about not including a highlighter, but I wanted to use something that I could use on my face and on my eyes if I wanted to. So I went with a liquid because I feel like, and especially this one, will work in both places. I know a lot of the highlighters I have for here don't necessarily look good on my eyes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter shade 1 Fair. This is just one I don't have to think about, and I can use my fingers to get a little bit of glow. Now it's not going to be the most bright, flashy highlighter, but it's going to add a little extra something. there. I'm also gonna put it up here a little bit. And that's it for the creams. I absolutely, most days I use some sort of setting powder. It's very rare for me, unless it's really cold. It's very rare for me to not use a setting powder because I'm combo and I do get warm at all. Even if I like drink coffee in the morning, sometimes I just get warm. And the shine comes through and I like to have a powder. So I'm using the Go Kendo Maifanshi Natural Lighting Powder. So if I wanted to be really like challenging, I would also use a minimal amount of tools to apply these products, but I'm not limiting myself in that way. So I'm using brushes, I'm using sponges. If I really wanted to challenge myself, I would just use my hands. That would make things faster, but I can't really apply a powder with just my hands. So that would be very hard to do my routine without a brush of some sort. I think a lot of us put most of our effort into our complexion, and we use a lot of different kinds of products, or at least two. Usually I like a foundation, a concealer at the very least. I think a lot of us these days use a powder, but also a lot of us are using blush, bronzer, highlighter. So a lot of products go into our complexion, and some would argue it's the most important. It's your base. Without like a good complexion, your eyes aren't gonna look good. I don't know if I agree with that, but I could see why people think that way. So we're on to the 5th product, blush. I could have just used highlighter. So I have highlighter. It's not the most bright. I could have gone for bronzer instead of blush. I could have done both and skipped out on some of those eye products. But I went with blush just because to me I look funny with just a bronzer. I know I've done it. I think I would look better if I'm just going to use one product with a blush, I guess is what I'm saying. M Cosmetics Magic Hour Heaven's Glow. She has other blushes that probably would be a little bit more suited to me, but this is very peachy but pink. I probably would go well with something cooler. I think the Venetian Rose looks pretty. I think that's the one I saw, but this is the one I have. And I wanted to go with this one because I haven't used it in a while, but also it has a little bit of glow, which I like. And because the highlighter isn't that glowy today, I mean, it's somewhat glowy, I thought I could use kind of a little something extra with my blush. If I was in a total hurry, I'll let you guys know at the end, like what I would skip. Like what are my must-haves. I also have a few products here to the side of like alternates that I was thinking about using for this challenge that I am doing to myself. I also like to put a little bit of blush up here if I'm not using a bronzer, just to even out the face. This is a pretty blush. And that is it. That's it for our complexion. So 5 products down, 4 to go. So next up is the brows. So this is one of those things that if you already have full brows, maybe you just put in a brow gel. That's all you need, or you don't do anything at all. I'm jealous of you. I've been putting stuff in my brows probably since high school. In the early 2000s. So this is my Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel in Taupe. This is like my perfect one and done go-to eyebrow product because it fills them in. It gives hold, and the little fibers provide a little bit of volume and texture and thickness. But ultimately what I usually get from this product, just using this alone, is not something that's super sculpted or perfected. It's more of a boy brow. I do need a little bit of help with like the structure and shape of my brows. So if I wanted to be like super perfect, I would use a pencil with this, or I would use one of those lamination gels first to help get that shape right, kind of standing up a little bit more. But I'm okay with the imperfect with this product because it accomplishes most of what I need, but it's not perfected. They're not even related right now, but that's okay. They filled them in. We're good. All right, so that was my 6th product. On to the 7th. This will be my one and done eyeshadow. This is one of my favorite products, and I just found out Charlotte Tilbury came out with matte versions of this. This is the Eyes to Mesmerize Oyster Pearl. This is the taupe shimmery shade, and one of my favorite products for eyeshadow of all time. Love how creamy it is. Love the tone of this one. It's pretty unique, and I can use it with my fingers. Tom Ford does have a similar shade, so I guess it's not that unique, but she created both products for both companies, so I just think it's a unique tone. So that's what I'm going to use on my eyes. But yeah, so the matte ones that are coming out, that are already out apparently, I'd be curious to try one to see what they're like, but from the video I saw, they're not the same texture, which would bother me. Also, the colors are very basic. Like I just feel like I don't need it. I felt like this wasn't a basic color. I mean, it is, but I don't know. There's something about this shade in particular that looks really fun and just really excites me, but the matte colors, I might wait until something a little bit more my style comes out, because they're all just very much nudes and browns and stuff, which I'm like, $34 for something that I'm not sure about. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass for now. Now, if it was the same texture as this, I think I would be more inclined to try it, even if it was a basic color. So this I'm applying with my fingers. I could totally use a brush to blend it, perfect it out, but I usually don't. All right, that's my one and done shade. On to my 8th product, which is a mascara. This is the Chantecaille Faux Cils Longest Lash Black. I've been enjoying it. I don't think I'm gonna repurchase it because the expense of it doesn't seem to justify what it's doing. I don't think it's really lengthening my lashes, but it is very comfortable formula. I find that I can remove it fairly well. Gives a good amount of volume. I don't think it gives like a spectacular amount of length. I feel like it's more volume than length for me personally, but I have very stubby little lashes. I'm gonna use a Q-tip to clean up the mascara that's kind of on my lashes, on top of my lashes, the remnants, and I will be back. All right, mascara all cleaned up. This is my product. This is the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm in Vanilla Beige. This is a balm with a little bit of a beige color to it. It's something I can apply without a mirror. So that's why I chose to pick this out, but you can really put anything on your lips. But this is one of those like minimal makeup products because it's like you're not really wearing much, but there's a little bit of a sheen and reflection, and it smells good. It feels comfortable. It's a new discovery for me that I have been loving. So that is the last product for this minimal makeup look. It is very natural. It is very fast. I think it enhances what I wanted it to enhance. And I will say, now that I have everything on and like the eyes and lips kind of distract from the rest of the complexion, I actually feel like my coverage, my complexion looks okay. Like I don't need it anymore. I don't need more concealer. I don't need a thicker, a foundation with more coverage. I think everything looks really balanced. So I really can't complain. For those of you that have a lot of makeup, or you wear a lot of makeup, or you use a lot of products on a day-to-day basis, have you tried paring it down more recently And if you haven't, I suggest trying to challenge yourself and finding products that accomplish what you generally want to accomplish with makeup with less products, and it obviously will save you a ton of time, and it's kind of fun. It's a fun little practice to see what you can do with not a lot of things. I know there's some people that just have a small makeup bag and they use the same products over and over, and they don't really think much about it, and makeup isn't like on their radar as much, and I'm kind of jealous of those people because it's so much simpler. But I use makeup as a kind of a creative outlet, so I do find it fun to change things up all the time. But I do find comfort in simplifying, of course. And I'm happy with this look. I think it's does the job, and it's honestly very professional, work professional. If you need to, you know, look polished and presentable and you want to feel your best, but you don't really want to look like, oh, you're wearing makeup, this accomplishes that, I think, personally. So I want to talk about some alternatives that I picked out over here on the side of what I could have used instead. So I was talking about how light of coverage this is. I had to use 4 pumps today to get the kind of coverage that I thought was enough. This is also a Chanel product that I just got and just tried. I feel like this would be a good alternative because it's also pretty light, but it's definitely more coverage than the Water Fresh tint. This is the #1 de Chanel Revitalizant Fondant Camille Rouge foundation. I don't really know the name of this. Looks like this. I felt like this would have accomplished what I wanted to accomplish more quickly, but I would definitely use a sponge with this instead. And this definitely has a pretty glow to it, so this would have been a good alternative that I could have used for like a light-ish makeup day. In terms of a concealer, this is more of a real concealer. This is from Typology. This is the Concealer Type 1 Fair. I would have picked this out with this because it's very much a lighter coverage concealer, and it's just, when I think about what foundation I'm using, I think about what concealer goes with it. I don't want like a full coverage concealer with a little really light foundation, like coverage foundation, because it just looks funny. It looks like I have white around my eyes and then nothing on besides that. So this would be an alternative for like a lighter kind of dewy kind of concealer. It's kind of hard to explain this one. It's not my favorite concealer, but it's definitely one of the concealers in my collection on the more natural side. In terms of eyeshadow, this one I thought about as an alternative for a one and done. This is from Sisley, the Le Phyto Ombre Sparkling Topaz #14. This is also a taupe shade. I definitely go towards taupe shades if I'm just doing one shadow, because some that have a little bit of shimmer, because the shimmer is flattering on me, but also it's a color that gives a little bit of definition as well and makes me look a little bit more alive. This one is deeper than the Charlotte Tilbury, so I didn't pick it. It also, to me, has some more obvious glimmer to it than this one, especially on when it's on the eyes. So I opted for something a little lighter and a little bit less of a glimmer. I think if you're going nighttime, this would be a good pick. For lips, you can use absolutely anything on your lips if you just want to use one product. If you don't like a balm, a lipstick that I have a sample of that I thought was a really natural color on me that's not super high maintenance. This is the Rouge Pure Couture 70. Because it's a sample, it doesn't really say. It's this YSL one. And it's just one of those like pinkish nude colors that you can kind of apply really easily. It's creamy, it's kind of a satin. It's not a matte, which I feel like is a little bit more high maintenance. So that's something else I was thinking about using instead of the balm. So those are the alternatives that I thought of to apply. Now, if I were to really pare this down even more from 9 products to less than that, let's say I was in a real hurry, which we've all been in. What I normally would do, if I was in a real hurry, I would apply sunscreen and run out the door. I wouldn't wear any makeup, okay? That's just me. And something I've gotten comfortable with in my 30s for sure, and especially since this pandemic, I've worn a lot less makeup, especially working at home. Especially if I have an internal meeting with my coworkers, I just don't care to put on makeup. If I were to pare things down to absolute essentials, I would do foundation. I would likely also do concealer. I would do my brows. I would do mascara. And I probably would do a setting powder. And that would be it. I would take out the highlighter, I would take out the blush, the eyeshadow, and the lip balm. I know lip balm is pretty essential, especially if you have dry, flaky lips, but that would leave me to 5 products, which is pretty minimal. But those are my essentials. I would probably look really washed out with just this, but at least my complexion would be even. I wouldn't have redness. The powder would kind of kill any extra shine. My eyebrows would be defined, and my lashes, and that would be my most minimal essentials. I think probably most of you would agree the only thing you would add is probably a lip product, which makes sense. Anyways, I thought this would be kind of a fun challenge to get you guys thinking about what your like minimal makeup would be, what products would you use, and how many. If you're into this kind of idea, please comment below. If you like this video, click the thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys.